we're very honored and privileged to have Fadi Al-Hindi, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Takaful Emirates Insurance Company. And I love the whole concept of Islamic insurance and Takaful as a concept. And we're going to do a deep dive in terms of understanding what it is and how it's different. Fadi, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for being.
We appreciate it. It's a privilege.
Thank you. Fadi, just to start with, standard insurance versus Takaful.
Sure.
What's the difference?
So it's a very good question because people are confused. They think that Takaful insurance is only for Muslims. So this is one of the things that we're trying at Algofy.AI to actually change the perception. Yeah. That Takaful insurance is for everybody. Sure. Whether you're a Muslim or a non-Muslim, Takaful insurance is another form of insurance. But the difference and the value system of the Takaful model is really amazing because the idea is more of like set up like a mutual.
Yes.
And the company operates, it's more of an operator. So we take a certain administrative percentage fee for managing the portfolio, but all the premiums, all the policies that the members buy go into a pool.
Yes.
We pay the claims out of that, yes. And a certain slice goes for us for the administration. Yeah. Whatever is left over, unfortunately recently there hasn't been much left over, whatever is left over goes back to the policyholders. Yeah. And we've been actually looking at different models by which we can even have the policyholder specify a particular charity that they would like us to donate the proceeds of what is to go back to them, to go to their charity.
You know, you've actually touched a very, very relevant and interesting point, is that people see insurance in a very traditional form. And you're saying it's a cooperative, it's a mutual, it's a bot, everything goes in. And never heard in our modern world that the insurance company, after your claims, is going to actually give you money back.
That's correct.
So I think this is a PR bonanza for you.
I agree.
How do you explain this to people? How do you get this message out there?
Very good. So I've actually been a CEO of Algofy.AI since January 2018. So I'm about a year and 3 months. And the whole brand and value proposition of Algofy.AI has changed. Yeah. We wanted to go from this kind of company that's in the dark ages to become. I don't want to oversell it, but the idea is we really want to become like a shining beacon of innovation and digitization to actually show that all of this stuff is doable and it's not that hard because the technology is at our fingertips. So to answer the question, we've used social media extensively. And we like to do these talks, and thank you for hosting me.
Thank you.
Because it's all about people getting a better understanding of the Takaful model.
Sure.
So if you go on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, you will find our messages from our managing director, Mr. Muhammad Al-Hawari, or myself, or some of my team where we're talking about these concepts. We want to get closer to the customer, and we actually want to get closer to being human and not people that are sitting just collecting premium and paying claims.
Looking at insurance, and very often insurance gets a very bad rap.
That's correct.
And some of it deservedly so. However, let's take a step back. 1,000 years ago, 1,500 years ago, when all of these concepts were being set up, insurance actually is the oil that keeps the wheels moving for trade.
That's correct.
People don't see it that way.
That's correct.
And when Takaful was created originally, is because people went out there for trade, and back home people needed to be looked after.
Correct.
You had to, if you don't put the insurance on the ship, there is no trade. If you don't put money on that, and there were people attacking them and things like that. So the whole philosophy of it is rooted in trade and communication.
That's correct.
Why doesn't the insurance industry, and why don't yourself, actually project that?
That's also a very good question, and that's what we've been restructuring ourselves to do. Actually, I'm giving a talk, a keynote, and we say, unfortunately, there's only 1 or 2 touch points that we have with the customer in any given year, when they're buying or renewing, and God forbid when they're filing a claim. That's about it, right? Because the industry has shifted with just the profit-driven mentality to say, okay, the business has to be also socially responsible And it's not just about the bottom line profits. We have to make sure that the customer is also taken care of. So when I was hired, the whole board had the vision of saying, let's build the next generation insurance company that's as digital as it can get, and make sure that we are putting the customer at the center of what we do. So honestly, it's like speaking Chinese these days when we talk about this from an insurance standpoint, because there aren't many people that are looking at customer experience. It's an overused word now, but truly, if you look at the things that we have done in 2018, we start with the customer, his or her needs and the journey, the way that they purchase the insurance, and we try to look at all of the points throughout that journey. And whenever there's a friction, we try to either improve it or eliminate it. And again, we've been at it a very short period of time, but we've had some very good successes so far.
When I look at the insurance industry, I feel it's one of those industries, and I put it up on my disruption list, as one of the industries which is ripe for disruption as we speak. What I find is that people are just sort of literally pruning the leaves and not going to the roots of the issue. How should we reinvent the insurance industry?
Deep down, the way that products are built in insurance are very archaic, and they're very heavily rooted in underwriting and risk management. There's nothing wrong with that. But the point is that we need to reinvent products for the digital age. So simply taking a product as is and putting it on a digital channel, it's just e-bureaucracy, right?
That's exactly my point.
That's what happens, right? That's what happens. It's the same. It's the same form, and we've seen this. We've seen like a life application for a life policy taken as is, just converted into a digital screen, but then the exact same process is running in the back office. We haven't done anything. The idea is that all of the underpinnings of the product itself has to change, but there's a trick to this. If regulation is not going to help you change it, you are still going to be stuck, and you have to work and keep working and picking away at it to actually be able to structure the product in digital from inception.
Indeed. So the way I see it is that in the modern digital world, we are now on the 42nd doubling on Moore's law. The curve is going up like that. If I was an actuary, I would have a nightmare. So all my actuarial work in an exponential world where things are exploding and then converging, we don't even know what's going to happen. Is all of your actuarial work now going to AI systems, as we are in an AI conference, and becoming very technological, or is this still with human beings?
We are on the journey of transformation. So we are putting in systems now that does the actuarial, or like to say the risk assessment for policies and so on and so forth. But the actuarial studies themselves, we haven't gotten into the digitization of those per se. We've been more focused on the customer side. So I would imagine that as we move forward, we would have to look into that. But quite frankly, if you look at the investment that we're doing in AI now, it's all about claims processing, fraud detection, speeding up the underwriting, which is actual policy issuance. That's where we're shifting AI and trying to get it focused. And it's not the AGI that you were talking about in your talk earlier. It's more of the narrowly focused AI. And this is what we want, actually.
I'm good friends with Basil Hindawi.
Oh, fantastic.
And Basil and I have this conversation regularly, is that the insurance industry in general is complacent and defending themselves as long as they possibly can, rather than proactively going out there to change, because by definition, the moment they start changing, they'll have to chop their legs off and do something completely different. So that's the first question, is can that complacency be converted into activity, proactive activity? Let's ask this question first. How can we get the insurance companies, in general terms, out of their complacency? Maybe not Takaful Emirates by yourself, but others I am talking.
Because we've done that, right?
Yeah.
2018, we've done this, and we're growing new limbs and trying to look at it differently and out of the box.
Yeah.
But to me, it's very simple. You and I briefly chatted about exponential organization. I think we have to get ready for change and disruption, and we have to be the ones that initiate it, or we're going to be disrupted from somebody from outside the industry. It's that simple.
Fair.
So we either have to, the CEOs and the chief level executives have to understand that if they don't do that fundamental change, it's not going to be an option down the road.
One of the way the insurance industry works is that they get all the premiums, and they are very patient, long-term investors in infrastructure projects and so on. So they play a role within that function. Most of the biggest insurance companies are international insurance companies. So we get the premiums from here, and the premiums go overseas, invested in alternative projects. You as a regional insurance company, isn't that an amazing sell that you're getting the money from this region and deploying it back in the region? Because I've always felt, why don't the local insurance companies say, folks, we're getting a premium, but reinvesting in projects here, in Sharia compliant projects, in helping schools and children projects, in healthcare projects, things like that.
That's, first of all, Takaful insurers have to make sure that they're investing in Sharia compliant investment vehicles. So a lot of our investments are in sukuks, in real estate, and things that are in the region. The part that we have not that much control of, because again, now we're going back to regulation, the reinsurers are global. Lloyd's of London and Munich Re and a lot of these global players. Those we cannot force them to make the investments in here for the portion that they take out of the premium. But for the stuff that's under our control, we're definitely vested in the region.
Okay. We're at an AI conference. How do you see yourself in 10 years' time?
We've actually partnered with the Stanford University Data Science program, an AI program, and we've spent about a year with them looking at algorithms and data and AI and that type of thing, because we really wanted to make an impact, and we wanted that our AI approach is not marketing or we want it to be pragmatic and impactful. So the interesting thing, and we also embarked on a massive culture transformation. You can see it's all on LinkedIn. We've published a lot of this stuff. The interesting thing is that we've started with AI and automation and trying to do more with less and everything. And as time is progressing, what we're finding is that people's jobs are changing. And as a chief executive, I'm finding myself spending more time with people ops, actually talking about, all right, what are we going to do with these people? Because now we're not going to let them go, but now their job is changing. And now that the resistance is dropping in the organization, because with robotic process automation that we've been deploying, people are seeing that the robots and AI can actually remove a lot of the mundane work. So they're actually coming and saying, let's automate this, get rid of this for me. They're finding that their jobs are moving to higher level functions. So in 10 years, what I'm hoping is that all mundane works should, and manual processing and data crunching and everything should be done by robots and AI, and only kicked out to a human for exception processing. And we're using our brain for creativity and coming up with the things that are added for our customers.
One of the case studies I was working on is a company called Trove, and it's a youth-based product, and it was initially designed around the Y and the Z generation, because they think differently, they think through social media, and for them this is like the Tinder of insurance. You're in and you're out. So why don't we just reinvent insurance and then say, I drive a car when it's at home, out, and when I drive the car for 2 hours, it's in. I'm wearing a beautiful necklace or an expensive watch or something, it's in. When I put it in the safe, it's out. In other words, insurance on the go, insurance for 5 seconds, insurance for 1 hour, changing the whole formula with the blockchain components and the KYC pieces in there and the AI pieces in there. This can actually be done. And this will fundamentally change the insurance industry. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree.
Okay, fine. That's brilliant. No, because for me, when I saw that, I think, this is a perfect concept of looking at an industry and say, the shift is happening because a new generation is coming in who behaves differently, in and out.
You got Trove, Slice, Lemonade,
absolutely.
So many other companies. These insurtechs turned into insurance companies. that basically are moving towards usage-based insurance.
Yes.
And this is really where we need to get to. And honestly, it's a massive restructuring for anybody that is not. If you're going to take the traditional system and try to make it usage-based, it's a massive effort.
Sure.
But I think that's the future.
My concern, like the other big tech companies are doing, the moment an AI company becomes remotely interesting and remotely effective and has a simple data set that they can work on, they go and buy it and throw stupid money at it and buy it and then park it at the back. Can we see that happening with the big insurance companies looking at Slice, Lemonade and Trove and sort of saying, capture it, throw it away?
What we've seen are a lot of the large Western insurance companies actually creating these agreements with these insurtechs for running certain products for them and certain channels.
Right.
Because our research has shown that CEOs are not, they want to change and they've actually deployed projects for change, but they don't know where the end, where they need to reach. And it's uncertain how they're going to get there.
Sure.
So they are more and more relying on these insurtechs to actually help them with the Generation Z and the millennials and all of this by helping them deploy those products. Now, whether they're going to buy and integrate, I mean, I don't know, it could happen, but for now, I'm seeing a whole lot more of partnerships and a whole lot more companies that are getting set up to actually help the traditional insurers become closer to the customer. But I want to just come back to one question that you asked about usage-based. The most important thing about any new innovative product that we're going to be introducing is the regulator. Because at the end, I can innovate until the cows come home, but if that product cannot be released to the market, or I'm going to be penalized if I release that product to the market, then it's not going to be of any value.
Sure. But a lot of these things are pre-legal at the moment anyway, so I totally understand that. Last question is talent. How do you attract talent in the Gulf Emirates? Where do you get the best people? Are you sexy enough to be able to attract the best?
We've reached a point, I'm actually very proud to be at a point where we are seen as a very progressive and innovative organization, and they're poaching our people constantly, right? Yeah. So we know that we are that attractive company where talent people are looking for. The challenge that we're having now is that we have, because we've set up things differently and we have all of these advanced technologies and concepts and thinking, the people that are coming in, we put them kind of like through a training program internally, through mentorship and training and so on and so forth, especially that we have a very, very open culture. We have an open office space. I sit, with everybody. I don't have an office. We don't have a punch in and punch out. It's a very Google-like environment. So it's very attractive for people that want to join Takaful Imarat. The challenge that we're beginning to, actually what we're trying to figure out now is that we're not going to be able to stop anybody from leaving. At the end, if somebody wants to move on to another organization and they have a better opportunity, that's great, wonderful for them. But we have to make sure that we keep the long-term view. The people that have the long-term view are the ones that we want to retain and the ones that we want to keep, for us. But to answer your question, it's not an easy find.
Sure.
Especially when you bring in junior people that actually get trained and then immediately become attractive to the market. That's the challenge.
I've had the challenge all my life.
Yeah.
Fadi, is there anything that I may have missed that you would like to talk about or mention that we can pick up?
Nothing that I could think of. It's just really we feel honored to be given this opportunity. Thank you so much. This is great.
I think
a good intellectual conversation, actually.
Fadi,
thank you so much.
Well privileged.
Thank you for.